morning to all of you. I am Ankit Tandon, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering, Jodhpur Institute of Engineering and Technology, Jodhpur. Today I am discussing about the power electronics based rotor side control of induction motor. The topic that we will discuss is power electronics based rotor side control induction motor. First we will discuss about the two controlling that we use in the induction motor. The two parts of the induction motor include, it has two parts basically. The first one is the stator and the second one is the rotor. These are the basic fundamental parts of an induction motor. Now we can control the speed of an induction motor by these two methods. The basic formula that is used to control the speed of an induction motor is Ns is equals to 120 F by V. It is actually the synchronous speed, and the actual rotor speed of an induction motor is, in which S is slip, Ns is the synchronous speed. So this Ns depends upon the frequency F and number of poles P fundamentally. If we are talking about the stator side controlling, we have the voltage control, we have the frequency control, we can change the number of poles, and if we are talking about the rotor side controlling, this is the rotor side controlling basically. So we have the resistance control method. Now the basic three parameters of electrical engineering include V, I and R. So if we control the level of voltage, we can change the speed. If we control the level of current, we can change the speed. And if we vary the resistance level, then also we can change the speed. The fourth parameter that is included in the AC machine is frequency F. So today we will discuss about the rotor side controlling of the induction motor, in which the power electronics converters are used. So four topics that we will discuss today in this article include: first, conventional rotor resistance control. Second one is the static rotor resistance control, static rotor resistance control method. Third one is the slip power recovery. In this slip power recovery, we have two configurations. The first one is share bus drive, and the second one is Kramer drive. One by one we will discuss the topics. In the conventional rotor resistance based controlling, we have two parts of an induction motor. This is the simple induction motor. If this first ring denotes the stator and this secondary denotes the rotor of an induction motor. The three-phase supply is given to the stator part. This three-phase supply is given to the stator part, and at the rotor part we have the resistance controlling unit. This is resistance 1, this is resistance 2, and this is resistance number 3. So basic principle include, if we change the rotor side resistance, then we can change the speed of the rotor of an induction motor. Now the difficulty, there are two difficulties of this particular method. If we are controlling the induction motor speed by the resistance control, we have two kind of difficulties. The first difficulty is that the simultaneous control of the resistances is not possible if we are adding the external resistor in the rotor side of an induction motor. Then the simultaneous control of the resistance is not possible in all three phases. And the second difficulty which we are facing if we are applying the conventional rotor resistance control method is the losses. The induction motor speed is controlled by the application of resistances, by connecting the external resistance in the circuit, and that is the reason some kind of losses are there. These particular losses, as the loss are more, then the efficiency will be down. This is the limitation number 2. Now, what is the alternative? We apply the second method, that is the static rotor resistance control. Basically, these two are the methods in which the power electronics is used. Now, power electronics converters include, the first is rectifier and the second one is inverter. Additionally, we can use cycloconverter also. So rectifier, inverter and cycloconverter. Again, inverter has two types. Sorry, this is not. Again, the rectifier has two types. Rectifier number 1, which consists of diode, and rectifier number 2, which consists of thyristor. If we are talking about the diode rectification, we have the uncontrolled supply, and if we are talking about the thyristor rectification, we have the controlled supply by the variation of alpha. This alpha is called as firing angle. So if we change the level of firing angle, we can change the DC, and if we change the level of DC, we get the variable output from the thyristor rectifier. In the second case, if we are talking about the diode rectification, we cannot change the output. It means the output is not variable in case if we are using the diode rectification, and in the first case if we are using the thyristor, then the control rectification is obtained. So static rotor side controlling, we are talking about the second method, that is the static rotor side controlling of the induction motor. Now we will discuss the basic circuit of static rotor side controlling of the induction motor. This is the three-phase supply which is given to the stator of an induction motor. This is motor, stator side is fed to the three-phase supply. This is the rotor side. Now we connect a three-phase diode bridge. This is diode bridge connection. Because it is a three-phase machine, so we connect the three-phase diode bridge here. Now we'll connect a resistor here, then a transistor chopper. This is the transistor based chopper. The three-phase supply is given to the induction motor, and this inner ring represent the rotor side of the induction machine, which is fed to the, this is diode bridge, which will act as a rectifier circuit. This is a transistor chopper, this is R, we denote it A, and this is B. So we can say this RA is RAP. This we can mark D1, D2, D3, D4, D5 and D6. Now the basic fundamental principle of static rotor resistance control is that if we change the level of this transistor alpha, here you should note that in case of transistor chopper, the value alpha is the duty ratio, and if we are talking about the thyristor, then alpha generally used for the firing angle. So please don't confuse, please get my point, that in case of transistor chopper, the alpha means the duty ratio. This alpha is equals to T on divided by total time T, and in case of thyristor, this alpha represents the firing angle. So if the variation of alpha is allowed here, this resistance value will be changed, and if we change this resistance value, then the speed of the induction motor will be changed. This is the principle. Now what is the difficulty of this particular method? Again, the same thing. The energy which is wasted during this rotor, this is actually a resistance control method, and a lot of energy is wasted in the resistance control. So we apply the third method, that is the slip power recovery. That is the slip power recovery. What does it mean? As the name indicates, that the rotor energy which is wasted during the speed control of the induction motor is utilized again, and that particular term is called as slip power recovery. Again, repeating the same thing, the slip power which is wasted during the rotor resistance control, the slip power which is wasted during the rotor resistance control is utilized, and that is the reason the term is known as slip power recovery. We have two configurations of slip power recovery. The first one is the shear bus drive, and the second one is the Cramer drive. That we'll discuss one by one. So this is the static rotor side control, and now we'll discuss the slip power recovery schemes, in which two configurations are there. The first one is the shear bus drive, and the second one is the Cramer drive. The three-phase supply circuit, in case of shear bus drive, we are talking about the shear bus drive configuration. The three-phase supply is same, induction motor is same, and this diode bridge is also same. So what is the difference? Difference is that this circuit will be removed from here, and we connect a DC link. We connect a DC link here. Then after an inverter, and then after connecting this inverter, a transformer is connected. This is the transformer, and supply is fed back to the source. This is the basic shear bus drive configuration. We'll discuss the circuit. shear bus. Shear bus drive system. Again, the same statement that the slip power which is wasted during the rotor resistance controlling is utilized in the slip power recovery scheme, and that is the reason it is known as the slip power recovery. We have two configurations of slip power recovery. The first configuration is known as the shear bus drive, that we'll discuss first, and the second configuration is known as the Kramer drive system, that we'll discuss later. This is the shear bus drive. It is the basic circuit. Again, the three-phase supply is given to an induction motor. This is the stator side, similar to the previous one. Three-phase supply is given to the stator of the induction motor. This rotor side is connected with the resistor. This is the third phase. Now a diode bridge is connected again. Here we will connect the diode bridge. This is third branch. This is routed as switch S1, this is S2. This is three-phase induction motor. This is three-phase supply given to the stator of the induction motor. Then after we will connect a DC link here. This is DC link. Then a thyristor bridge is connected. This is the thyristor bridge. After it, the energy is given to a three-phase transformer. This is the three-phase transformer circuit which is connected at the output side. Then these three wires are supplied back to the three-phase source. This is phase number 1, this is phase number 2, and this is phase number 3. So it is fed back. It is the basic circuit of a shear bus drive system, in which the rotor side energy, or we can say the slip power, is not wasted and it is supplied back to the source via a medium of this transformer and this thyristor bridge configuration. So this is the circuit of a shear bus drive system. Initially the motor is started when switch S1 is closed, and at the initial level the switch S2 is open. After some time this S1 is open and this induction motor is connected to the entire configuration by closing these switches S2. When three-phase induction motor is connected to this diode bridge will convert the AC to DC. It will act as a rectifier. It is inductor LD the current which is flowing through this inductor LD is noted by ID, that is the DC link inductor and DC link current respectively. Then after it is applied to the thyristor bridge, that will convert DC again to AC. Then after a transformer is connected for a step up the level of voltage. Then after the transformer, the supply is fed back to the source. So slip power is not wasted in this configuration, and this slip power is supplied back to the source via a medium of this DC to AC converter and this transformer. This is the shear bus drive system. In the second method, that is the Cramer drive system, we have suppose we'll discuss the Cramer drive system. At this particular point, we'll obtain DC. Agree? At this particular point, we obtain the DC. So if DC is obtained here, is it possible to utilize this DC directly without converting it into AC? Yes, it can be possible. If we are connecting a DC motor here, then we can also change the speed of this induction motor if these two are mechanically coupled to each other. Now we'll discuss the configuration of the Cramer drive. So it is a shear bus drive, and now we'll discuss the last circuit, that is the static Cramer drive system. Cramer. Three-phase supply, the circuit input side circuit is same as the previous one. This is the induction motor stator side, this is the rotor side. Three-phase supply is given to the stator side of the induction machine. At the rotor side, this is the rotor side control. A diode bridge is connected here. This is diode branch number 1, this is 2, and this is third one. Input side is same in all three methods: the static rotor resistance control, the shear bus control, and the Cramer control. This is the fundamental circuit. Now in the previous one, we connect an inductor here, then after a thyristor bridge was connected, then we had connected the transformer, and supply is given back to the source. And in this particular method of Cramer drive system, we have the DC link inductor. Then this DC link inductor is connected to a DC motor like this. This is the separately excited DC motor, self-excited and separately excited, two kind of motors are there. Now in this method, we are using a separately excited DC motor. This is three-phase IM. This is three-phase supply. This is AC to DC rectifier. This is inductor DC that is denoted by LD. This is ID, the current flowing through this inductor. This is the armature, and it is the field current. This is VF. This is VF. Now, at this point, we will obtain the fixed value of DC that is given to the armature side of the machine. Now, in the armature side of the machine, if we control the voltage, we have two methods to control this. We we have two methods to control this armature of the DC machine. The first one is armature voltage control, and the second one is field flux control method. This DC motor is mechanically coupled to this induction motor. This DC motor, or we can say this induction motor, is mechanically coupled to this DC motor. So by controlling the speed of this armature, we can control the induction motor speed. Ultimately, the energy is not wasted and the slip power is recovered. So we have two methods to control the speed of the DC machine. The first one is the armature voltage control method, and the second one is field flux control method. A variable supply is given to the field side of the DC motor. This is the armature side. Now, if there are two configurations, we can connect a diode bridge or we can connect a thyristor bridge. If we are using a thyristor bridge configuration, we obtain, at this point, we obtain the variable value of DC. If we are using the thyristor configuration, and if we are using the diode configuration, the fixed value of DC is obtained here. And that is the reason, if we are using the diode, then this VF is to be changed. After changing this value of VF, the value of IF will be changed, and if the IF value is changed, then armature side speed will be changed if we are using the diode. In the second case, if we are using the thyristor, then there is no need to change this value VF. If we are using the thyristor, then automatically we obtain the variable value of voltage here, and after getting the variable value of voltage, we will easily change the armature side speed. So it is the primer drive configuration. So it is all about the power electronics based motor side controlling of the induction machine. Further, if you have any query, you can ask me frankly or email me at ankit.tandon@jeetjodhpur.ac.in. This is my email ID. You can send your reviews regarding this video